mình sẽ hướng dẫn cho các bạn những cái liên quan đến cái band chấm điểm, là vì sao các bạn dùng như vậy thì nó là cao hơn, vì sao các bạn dùng như thế kia thì nó lại thấp hơn. Những cái này là những cái các bạn phải hiểu về band điểm để mình có thể đạt được những điểm phù hợp cho cái phần thi speaking của mình. Và sau đó thì chúng ta sẽ có một cái phần gọi là Q&A. Trong cái phần Q&A tức là phần hỏi đáp thì các bạn có thể hỏi mình bất cứ một cái gì đó liên quan về bài thi IELTS này. Bài thi IELTS thì thực ra nó chỉ là một bài thi chuẩn hóa thôi, cũng là một cái mà mình cũng được nghiên cứu và học tập tương đối là nhiều khi còn đang học về vấn đề sư phạm. Thì mình sẽ giúp để giải đáp cho bạn những câu hỏi đó. Bất cứ câu hỏi gì liên quan đến bài thi IELTS, speaking cũng được, writing cũng được, listening cũng được, everything cũng ok. So are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Mình sẽ nói tiếng Anh ở mức độ vừa phải thôi. Ok. Nếu như các bạn cảm thấy không hiểu nhé, raise your hand. Alright. So let's do this. Okay. So today we are going to talk about accommodation. So what do you think is the meaning of accommodation? You please. I forget to answer your name, right? What's your name, please?
My name is Quỳnh, but you can call me Jerry.
Jerry, like Tom and Jerry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
What were you? What's your name?
My name is Tu.
Tu? Okay. Do you have a nickname or anything? No? Okay. What are you?
I'm
Alright. And you know?
Yeah, my name is Tum.
Okay. So Jerry, Tu, Anh, and Tum. Okay. So what is the meaning of accommodation?
I think that accommodation is something that related to types of houses.
Okay. Alright, that's a bit complicated. Alright. I understand what you said. What about you? What do you think is the meaning of accommodation?
I think accommodation means somewhere you stay.
Right. It just means somewhere you stay or somewhere you live. Okay. Now let's move on to the second question. So, do you like traveling? Do you like traveling? Raise your hand. Like traveling? Okay. So, where do you stay during your travel? Where do you often stay during your travel, please?
During travel, I often stay in a hotel.
You stay in a hotel?
With family or friends.
With your parents, right? What about you, though? Where do you often stay during your travel?
I think I will stay in homestay because it's cheap.
Homestay? You think it's cheap?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
cheap.
Interesting. Now, look at this. You know this? Yeah, right. It's the Airbnb. What is the meaning of this? What is this service? What is this service? You know? What is this service?
I have heard that this website to maybe to register the when you want to book
Okay.
hotel you can
Go
register
to this?
in this website.
Okay. So, what do you know about Airbnb? No idea? You? Any? Okay, Tung? You try this? Okay. Do you know what B&B stand for? It means bed and breakfast. Okay. It is a website, okay, where you can rent out your home or your accommodation to other people. Okay. And today we are going to learn how to advertise our accommodation, how to describe it on different websites. For example, Airbnb, in case you want to rent out your house or your accommodations. Okay, right. So first, let's talk about some type of accommodation. What this?
Apartment block.
Apartment block. Okay. Do you know how many ways in US and in the UK and in Australia that we call a part of this block? Flat. Any other way?
Studio.
No, not studio. Okay. Actually, we have three ways. In the US, we use apartment. In the UK, we use flat. And in Australia, we use unit. So based on the way that they use the word, we know that, where they are from. Okay, so one first question. So in the IELTS test, which word should you use? Apartment or flat or unit? Why do you think so? The IELTS test is from UK,
Because most
right?
of the presenter maybe speak US or UK.
Okay.
British.
All right. So what do you think? Which one do you use?
Flat.
Flat. Why? Why is that?
Because it's IELTS from British.
Okay. There's a misconception that you have to use like flat because the IELTS test is from UK, but it's not true. You can use apartment, or you can use flat, or you can use unit, as long as you remain consistent with your way of word. For example, you only use word from the US, you only use word from the UK. Okay, try not to mix them up. Not like something you say in the US and something in the UK. Okay, right. So we have apartment, flat, and unit, right? Very easy. This one is interesting. What's that? What's that? Is it the same? Is it the same as before? Okay. But actually we have a different name. Condominiums or condos. Okay? Condominiums or condos. Okay, repeat after me please. Condominiums
Condominiums.
or condos.
Condo.
Okay. What is the difference between apartment and condominiums? What is the difference here? I often listen to like students making some mistake between apartment and condominiums. Do you understand these two types of accommodation? They're very different. But what is that difference? What is that difference? Right? Just make some suggestion, make some guess. They're not different, right?
Yeah.
They're probably the same, right? Okay. Right. So, apartment is just the same as condominiums, but the difference here is that you can only rent an apartment, but you can own a condominiums. Now you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, you can rent an apartment, right? So it is actually a collocation, rent an apartment. Okay, but for condominiums, you must own a condos. You understand that? Okay, so what do you think about this sentence? Where are you living now? I'm living in an apartment. So what does this actually mean? What does this actually mean? What does this actually mean? I'm living in an apartment. What does this actually mean? You often listen, even see this question, right, during the first part of the IELTS test, and the examiner often asks you, like, where are you living now? I'm living in an apartment. Like, everybody said that. But what does that really mean? Now you understand, like, the difference. What does that really mean? I'm living in an apartment. What does that really mean?
It's in rent apartment.
Exactly. You are actually renting an apartment. You do not own this place. Okay? So if that is your house, okay, your parents buy the condos, right? So you have to say like, yeah, I'm living in a condos, not I'm living in an apartment. They are totally different. Okay? So where are you living now? Are you living in an apartment or a condo? A condo, right? Okay. What about you? Are you living in a condo or an apartment?
I'm living in an apartment.
Okay, so you
Still.
right, you rent out that place, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Now you understand that, right? Don't make that mistake. Okay. Now look at this. Pay very close attention to this house. Okay, you see that? All right. Okay. Now look at this. Okay. Right. Now look at this. Okay. Look at this house. All right. What do you think is a terrace house? What do you think is a terrace house?
The same design into house.
Exactly. These houses are actually of the same design. They are called terrace house. Okay, terrace house, not terrace, not something else. Okay, right. Repeat after me, please. A terrace house.
Terrace house.
A terrace house.
A terrace house.
Good job. Right, it's a terrace house. You see, they're actually very similar. So, do you often see a terrace house in Vietnam? Do you often see terrace house in Vietnam?
No.
No? Okay, so where could you see a terrace house in Vietnam? It's not common in Vietnam, it's true, but where could you see a terrace house in Vietnam?
In resort.
You're right, like in some resort, right?
Yes, as resort.
Okay, anywhere else in Hanoi? Have you been to the Lebanon Street? No? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. They actually has like a row of house there, and they're on the same design. It is actually a terrace house. Okay. Now, what do you think is the name for two houses at the beginning and at the end of a terrace? What do you think is the name of two houses at the beginning and at the end of a terrace? What is that? It is end of terrace house. Yes. End of terrace house. Right. The two houses at the beginning and at the end. And a terrace house. Okay. Do you want to live in a terrace house? Do you want to live in a terrace house? No. Why do you like living in terrace house? Why?
I want to live in my house which I own. We own.
Okay, you still own it.
Yeah, but in maybe my house, I like to live in a house in not urban.
Suburban or what?
Yeah, suburban.
Like in the countryside or like.
Yeah, it's spaces than
Ah.
small spaces than big house.
Okay, thank you. And now we come to another house. I think that's what you like. Okay, look at this. This one is called a detached house. Okay, a detached house. This one is also called a detached house. And this one is also called a detached house. So, what do you think is a detached house? What do you think is a detached house? This one, and this one.
It's just a big house and not share the world with the neighbor.
Exactly. So there's only this house, right? It doesn't share a wall with anything else. Okay. So this is a detached house. Okay. We also have some other word for that. It's a single family house, or it could be a stand-alone house. Stand-alone. In a standalone house, right? Do you want to live in a standalone house like this? You please? Do you want to live in a standalone house like this? Why do you like to live in this standalone house?
I think it will be quiet.
Much quiet. Okay. Anything else aside from like the quietness?
Bigger.
Oh, it's bigger. Okay. What do you think? What do you think?
I think that I love single family house because I can enjoy fresh air. And
Fresh air inside the house.
outside and it's quite spacious.
It's very spacious, right? Okay. Right. Let's move on to another house. Okay. This one is called a semi-detached house. Okay. A semi-detached house. Okay. Right. This one. So what do you think is the difference between a detached house and a semi-detached house? What do you think is the difference between these houses? What is the difference here?
Share the world. Share the world.
What's the word?
The semi-detached house share the world and has the same designs.
Exactly. This one is actually two houses, and they share the same wall, and they have a very similar design. Okay. So which do you think is more expensive? Which do you think is more expensive?
Detached house.
Detached house. So what do you think is more expensive? There must be a reason, right?
Actually, the Savage text how you just pay the half of the house.
Half the house. Okay. Right. So the detached house is actually more expensive, especially in the Western world. You often have to pay about like 250,000 or like 500,000 for a single families like this. Okay. And for this one, it is less expensive because it is also less private. Okay, less private. If you want to fix something in this house, you have to ask the other people in the other house. Okay. Like you want to fix the water, you can fix the electricity, you have to ask for permission. You cannot do that. Okay. In a standalone house, it's fine. You can do whatever you want. Okay. All right. Now let's do a quick check. So what is this?
Condo.
A condo.
A condo.
Anything else?
Condominium.
Anything else?
Condominium.
Flat.
Flat. Anything else?
Unit.
Unit. Anything else?
Condominium.
Apartment, right? Okay. So what is the difference between a flat and a condos?
For rent.
For rent.
And
Yeah,
condo
condos.
is for own.
Right. You can own a condo, right? Okay. What about this?
Terrace
A terrace
house.
house. Okay. What about this?
Terrace.
Detached house. What about this?
Terrace house.
So let's talk about Vietnamese house. Okay. What is the usual Vietnamese house with this shape? I don't know how to draw that. Like this, right?
Yeah.
Right. So this is the door. What are we calling this type of house? Do you live in this house? Do you live in this type of house? I'm living in this type of house. This is very typical in Vietnam. How do you call that?
It's
No idea. This is a tube house.
Tube.
Yeah, right? It's a tube house. Yeah, Vietnamese, really prefer tube house for no apparent reason. I understand. Okay, it's a tube house. It's a very typical one in Vietnam. Okay, you can see a lot of people living in tube house. Okay, right. Now, let's talk about advertising your house. Okay, let's talk about advertising your house. So, if we want to advertise our house, we need to know which aspect of our house we are going to talk about. Alright? So, what are we going to talk about our house here in the advertisement? Okay? Now, first, I want you to work in group. Right? Let's go in group 2. This will be paired on the group. Okay? So, you two, a group. Okay? And Tung, you're going to work with Thư and I. Right? Okay? Right, thank you. Now, I want you to discuss in your group and you list out different aspects of your house that you are going to talk about. Right? List out the aspects, list out the things, the features of the house that you want to talk about. Okay? I'm going to give you 3 minutes for discussion, and then after that, you're going to write those on the board. Do you understand? Okay. So, only have 3 minutes for everything.
Condo. One minute left.
finish? Now please go to the board and write down the features that you want to describe in your house. Okay? Only the features that you want to describe in your house.
All you it's in model design.
Okay, don't worry about that. Please. Okay. So very different understanding of instruction. Okay. Good job. Structures. Wow. Okay.
Two different.
Right. So they actually have a very different understanding of the instruction. Okay. Please to actually understand better. Okay, finish. Okay, thank you. Right. Alright, so look at this. So, this group offer like the criteria, right? So all the features, not specific. Okay. This one is very specific. Okay, that's okay. It doesn't matter now. So, let's just say this, okay? So in IELTS speaking or in any advertisement on Airbnb, there is a very important thing you have to remember. That is coherent and cohesions. And what is that? Actually, it is about the order of information that you are going to speak about, or you write about, okay? And then linking device and signposts. So let's talk about the order first, shall we? Okay, let's talk about the order first. So let's look at this order. Let's look at these orders. How are you describing this? This one, please. Let's talk about the order. How are you describing this? What is the order of description here? What is the order description here?
For service of the house.
First, you talk about the 100 meters square and 10 floor. It is about
Location.
the location, right? And the size, right? Okay. And then you talk about
The service?
no,
Really? I don't know.
it's actually the interior, right?
Yeah,
Interiors. You talk about interiors. And that's it, right? Fully furniture with big television. These two are actually in the interior, right?
Yes.
Okay, so location, size, interior. This group, okay, time, accommodation, that's good. And then you follow it with location. Wow, okay. And then you follow with the structures. Good job. Okay, and you follow with the price. So I think like both of your groups actually have a very good audience. Okay. Now let's see in real life. Let's say in real life, how are they going to describe their accommodation? Right. Now, work in the same group. All right. Now pay attention. These are actually two handouts. Handout 1 and handout 2. Okay? Now I want you to work in the same group and you have to list out the order of description in each handout. You understand that? Okay? Work in the same group and list out the order of description and see match yours.
Vẫn là chủ yếu là vấn đề ở đâu.
Two more minutes, please.
Hoặc như thế này.
You finished already? Okay. Okay. This group, have you finished? Okay, 1 more minute. Okay. Now, so the first group, please. The first group, pay attention, please. Okay. So now tell me, what is the description of the handout 1? Handout 1. What is the description? The audio description? Location, okay. And then? Interiors. What do they talk about the interior? What do they talk about the interior? First is the view, okay, one. The second one, the furnitures or the appliance, to be exact. Anything else? Equipment. And then the kitchen. They talk about the kitchen, mean the room, right? Right, the room. Okay, and next. Come back to the view again. Okay, and next. You mean the neighborhood? Okay. Alright, it's neighborhood, right? So what do they talk about the neighborhood? What do they talk about the neighborhood here? They talk about some facility, right? Next to the neighborhood. Okay. So this group, what do you think about this description? Do you agree? Do you agree with this description of the handout 1?
Yes.
You have the same description, right? Okay, let's move on to the next one. So the second group, tell me about the description of the second one.
Interior.
So they talk about the interior, right? What did they talk about the interior here?
Bedroom.
So they talk about room and the equipment, right?
Yes.
We talk about this equipment, or they use a word like, what is the word to mean equipment in a house?
Furniture.
No.
Range of
Amenities. Good job. That is the right word. So if we want to like say our house has a lot of amenities, right? You do not say our house has a lot of furniture. No. Amenities means something very convenient, something comfortable to use. Okay. Amenities. Good job. Right. Let's move on. After that, what do they talk about?
This is facilities.
Okay. They talk about the facility. Where facilities?
Theaters.
Okay. So you mean that they talk about the neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then after that, they talk about the service. Okay. Okay. They talk about the service in the neighborhood. Anything else? They talk about The facility is also the services. Anything else to talk about? The view. Okay. Right. So these are the choose way that you could order, like how you write or how you speak about accommodation. Okay, you can choose whatever you want. All right. I prefer this. I prefer this because it is talk about the location first. Okay, and then it talk about the interior. What do you have inside? Okay, and then after that is the exterior or the outside. The neighborhood is the outside, right? So I like this one, but this one still work, right? This one is still work. So you can choose whatever type of order that you want. Okay, right? Now let's talk about something else. So if you want to talk about location, okay, let's stick with this one. If you want to talk about location, then which structures are you going to use? You want to talk about location, then which structures are you going to use?